everyone. Chief Meteorologist Michael Bowling here in the Weather Center. Can we go and switch over to Max 2, please? Thank you, whenever we get a chance. I think actually Brian's going to run some of those graphics, so we might go back over to Max 1. But I wanted to quickly show you the area of rotation that we're talking about for this tornado warning. Right now, the northern portions of Jack County. This warning does include southwestern portions of Montague County, too. So right now, the area of rotation here is very close to Truce, about to go across Highway 59. That makes its way up towards Bowie. And the track of the current rotation, it's really starting to broaden out quite a bit here. This isn't a day for these rotational areas to really hold together very long, and really it wasn't even a main area for a day for rotation to really develop much at all. But we do have this one broad area still of rotation that was a little bit tighter towards the beginning of the loop. You can see it right there in the bright green when it was a little bit further west in Jack County. But now it's starting to broaden up here some, so we might actually not have this tornado warning last very long, but it still is a tornado warning that does include also southwestern portions of Montague County. I'm going to switch over to our reflectivity product here. Actually, I think I'm on. There we go. And you can see where the warning is. It does not technically include Bowie at this point. Bowie, you are just on the outside of the warning. Also does not include Sunset. So this warning really goes up to 287 in areas southwest from there. So if you live southwest of town in Bowie, this warning does include you. You might want to go ahead and get to your safe spot now, even though this rotation looks to be weakening some, or you want to get away from exterior walls and windows, a small bathroom, small closet, usually the best spot to be in the center of your home. That's where you want to be right now. If you have a storm shelter, that's obviously an even better option as we go throughout the rest of this tornado warning. I do believe this tornado warning is in effect for another 15 minutes, if I recall. I think it's in effect till 9:15 or 9:20. So we are going to stay with this until they decide what to do with it. If they decide to cancel it, because it does look like the rotational area has weakened some. You can see really broad rotation, all these reds and greens, how they weren't as tight as they were earlier in this loop right there, right before we got to Truce there. That's where the area of rotation was a little bit tighter, now has broadened up quite a bit here as it goes towards southwestern portions of Montague County. Do we know, is Brian actually there? If Brian's there, we can go ahead and switch over to Max 1, and I'll allow him to kind of move some graphics around, as I know he knows what he's doing. So let's go ahead and switch over to Max 1 if we can, if Brian is there. He's not here? Okay, we don't have Brian. Okay, so, okay, because I know he was messing with some graphics a second ago, but he might not be on the line anymore. Okay, so I'm going to have to keep going back and forth between these two loops. I'm by myself right now in the Weather Center, and obviously wasn't expecting a tornado warning this morning as to how I am dressed right now. So this tornado warning is still in effect here, and it really looks to be broadening up quite a bit. I don't have the National Weather Service chat up right now, so I can't see what they're discussing. But there's a good chance that I could see them actually canceling this warning early based on some of the rotational signatures. Right now, the best area of possible rotation would be really south of Truce at this point, almost outside of the tornado warning itself. So I'm going to go ahead and broaden this out a little bit so we can look at the overall picture of this line of showers and storms moving through the region. So what you'll see here is the main line, the area where we could have severe weather or any more tornado warnings, is just right here on the leading edge. That's what this is, this tornado warning. It's a leading edge QLCS type tornado warning. You hear us talk about those occasionally with these little squall lines that come through. This line is going to keep pushing off to the east, and so right in front of the lines where we could have the strongest winds, and also where we could see these little areas rotation develop. Now, Jack County, really for the most part, after this warning passes, after these storms move out of the county here, you're going to be done with the chances for severe weather here as we go throughout the rest of the morning. We still have issues of possibilities for eastern portions of Jefferson County and all of Montague County. So we're going to stay with this and watch as it makes its way in towards Montague County. So look on that area of rotation again here. See how it's... Oh, we do have Brian. Okay. So let's go ahead and switch over to Max 1, and maybe Brian can take us around a little bit so I'm not talking through a loop here. If we can switch over to Max 1.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so and just to kind of give you an idea, Michael, what we're looking at, we've been watching this cell that's been moving out. It's really a part of this long line of storms. If you notice, there's a little bit of circulation that goes pretty much right on the border between Clay and Jack County, and you can see that area of enhancement. It's for the most part just kind of skirting the line, and I think by and large is probably going to move pretty close to Bowie along Texas 59 as it moves to the northeast. It is not a major circulation whatsoever, but I do think it does have the chance for some enhancements that could have winds near 70 miles an hour as it moves to the northeast. So it's not nearly as organized as what it was, say, about 10 minutes ago or so. It hasn't really had a lot of intensity, and these are not major tornadoes. We're not talking about, you know, EF4s, EF5s. We're talking about brief spin-ups that last for a short amount of time, can certainly do a little bit of damage as they move, but by and large, I don't expect this to last very long. You can see the storm track is going to take it pretty close to Bowie, about 9:17 or so. So we got about 7 more minutes before it makes its way into Bowie. But I think for the most part, this is going to be a rain producer for the vast majority of us. I'll take that one out. You were looking at the line, the full line, and you could see that it does extend all the way from around Oklahoma City, where they've issued a severe thunderstorm warning up there, all the way down to about Interstate 20 west of DFW. But for right now, the most concentrated area, the most area of biggest concern is this little cell that is within this whole line of storms, and we see these little enhancements take place. And I think for the most part, this is going to be a brief, short-lived opportunity to have some of that wind enhancement, but we're not done. This line of storms continues to move to the east, and as it heads towards Monte, you can even see a little bit of a bowing segment right here. If you notice, it looks a little bit more like it's bowing out a little to the west of Monte. That could have some wind enhancement that could be close to 60 miles an hour as well, and that's what we look for. We look for these bends and bows. The bows are where we could see outflow winds of around 60 miles an hour, but some of the bends, these little nooks and crannies within the lines of storms, that's where we could see those enhanced winds, which could be around 67, maybe even upwards of 80 miles an hour, and that's when they will issue the tornado warning. So, Michael, I'll send it back over to you for right now.
Thank you, Brian, for that. And as Brian was saying, it doesn't look quite as organized as it did earlier, and also what he was just saying there, this is not a day for long-lived rotations. This is going to be a quick thing, if anything, if it does manage to produce a tornado. But right now, he was actually showing the loop, the velocity loop from the radar in Frederick, and right now we're looking at Fort Worth. It actually shows a little bit of a different picture depending on which radar you're looking at, which isn't entirely uncommon for situations like this. This is not a very organized area of rotation, so we're looking at it from 2 different areas, and you can actually still see some maybe of these little couple of different spots here where we get more of these greens and reds touching, and especially when we get this enhancement, as he was kind of calling it too, as well, with the brighter greens there. That's a little bit stronger wind speed there. That's going towards the radar in Fort Worth. Reds are going away from that radar. So we're still seeing a few of these little areas that could still produce brief spin-ups. And so that's why this warning was issued in the first place. And once again, not a day where we're looking for these to last particularly long. We go back over and look at the regular reflectivity loop. You can see right now the main line is really just inching its way to the eastern portions of Jack County. It's then going to start pushing out towards Wise County and then out of our area. But Monte County, you're still going to have these storms here for a little while. And as he was talking about a second ago, these bows, that's going to be more of what the concern was originally with any of these storms, where some of these bowing segments that could produce some stronger wind speeds too. And so we are starting to see that going towards Monte proper at this point, just north of Bowie. So we're going to watch that. That's going to get pretty close to Nakona here as I zoom out a little bit. So we'll watch that. Right now, no severe thunderstorm warning on that part of the line. But that's an area that we'll certainly be watching to see if we get any stronger wind speeds there. So that's going to, yeah, this bowing segment's going to go right towards Nakona. Might have some stronger winds with it too. At this point, probably closer to about 50 miles per hour. That might strengthen a little bit. When we get these bowing areas, they tend to strengthen a little bit quicker as they start to really start to get that more bowing segment that we were just talking about. Now for that rotational area, let's go back to it. Let's see, we got another loop here from the velocity scan. Still not seeing anything that's extremely organized here. Maybe some organization, weak organization southeast of Truce on the Fort Worth site. I'm going to move this a little bit so I can actually take a look at it from the Frederick one that he had. Because the Frederick loop shows a slightly different story. So there's the rotational area that you can see a little bit better on the Frederick radar, especially that he was pointing out earlier. That one's actually a little bit north Truce. And then it moved into Monte County. That area rotation is gone at this point. So that one area that we saw on the Frederick site, that area is gone, so we're not really concerned about that anymore as far as rotational area. We still have this tornado warning. I wish I had National Weather Service chat up because I believe this warning is issued until 9:15 once again. Let me go ahead and click on my iPad. Okay, well, they just let the tornado warning expire, it looks like. I wish I had chat up so I could confirm that, but it looks like on my radar scope application, they went ahead and canceled the tornado warning. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's a canceled tornado warning, which is good news, of course. We're going to still sit here and watch these storms for a little bit. But right now, we're going to go and send it back to program. I'm going to get a little bit more organized here in the weather office. What was that? Brian, you want to say something?
I just was going to kind of work off of what you were just saying. Yeah, the warning expired at 9:15, so that was pretty much what they were talking about with that area of enhancement. They are watching another one that's south of Jacksboro that's also moving off toward the northeast. So there are a couple different areas of still the sum of enhancement, which we basically is where those winds kind of come together. If you've been around tall buildings before and some of that wind kind of whips around sometimes and it spins up and it kicks a little bit of debris and dust and leaves and stuff into the air, that's what's going to happen with these. And I'll get rid of this old storm track, but the storms are moving quick. They're moving about 45 to 50 miles an hour. They're not moving slow, so they're going to be in and out pretty quick. So if you do happen to get one of these warnings issued, you have to act pretty quickly. And the biggest concern right now is probably going to be where these enhancements take place, some potential for wind damage. We could have some winds up around 70 miles an hour. A lot of people have their Halloween decorations out. So with these gusty winds, it could damage your Halloween decorations. It could move them a couple of houses down as well. So be mindful if you do have some outdoor decor that it might get dislodged a little bit. But the whole line has this potential for little enhancements. But we have the Boeing segment that's near around Montague and Nakona. And then we, of course, have the heavy rainfall taking place in Bowie right now. But this line goes all the way down to the south. So we're not entirely done with this threat for some of these spin-ups, but with this line quickly moving off to the east, the threat for Texoma proper is not going to last too much longer. So like Michael said, we'll certainly keep an eye on it back, but for right now, I'll send it back over to you, Michael.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. So once again, we are going to send this back to programming. I'm going to continue to sit up here, watch these storms as they move through, because as Brian was just talking about, if we get another one of these areas of enhanced rotation, it's going to be a very quickly issued tornado warning, and you will need to act quickly because this is just one of those type situations where it can quickly produce a tornado, then quickly weaken quite a bit as well. So it's going to be an active situation as it moves through Montague County. We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll continue to keep you updated. Thanks for sticking with us here at Channel 3.